Yeah. Oh, you're right.
You can't order a 22 right now.
All right.
So, but you don't
Three,
know how much you want to talk about how much
two,
this one costs versus
one.
what they currently cost. And
Not much.
okay,
All right.
so
Welcome back to Munro Live, everybody. We have Ben Lindemood and myself, Cory. We have a Ford Mustang Mach-E GT. This one is a 2021. It's provided by Ford. I know that we did a big teardown on a Mach-E about a year ago, right, Ben?
that's right.
And that one that we reviewed was not a GT. So this is our opportunity to compare and contrast what's different between this one and the other one. First of all, the color and the price. They call this cyber orange, but there's been a big argument here at Munro & Associates. I think it looks like a mustard yellow. It definitely stands out. I think Eric took it home last night and he said that people were really looking. So I think if you're going to get a car and you want to make a statement, red, orange, yellow, you get pulled over more easily, but I think it looks good. Ben, what do you think?
Personally, it's not the color for me. If I was to get this car, I wouldn't get the cyber orange, but it's just a preference of whoever's buying the vehicle. I do like how they tied together all of the black accents in here with the orange to kind of break it up some. I think that does look really good, but just the color itself isn't for me.
And one thing at Munro & Associates that we're tasked to do oftentimes is help OEMs figure out how much money to spend on different trim levels. So this being one of the highest trim levels, if you look at the front end here, you'll see this piano black. Now, Ben leads a lot of our costing activities here at Munro & Associates. So can you let our viewers know the cost associated with piano black versus just like a blank regular plastic color?
So you've got a couple of different finishes going on here. They've got the cyber orange that they have over most of the fascia, the piano black piece here, and then the mold-in color that's going on over here. Obviously going to the paint, you're going to be adding some cost to that, but even going to this piano black, it's even more expensive than doing this orange color here. So you've got the glossy piano black down here on the bottom of the fascia as well. So there is a lot of money that Ford is putting into this to be able to get that look. In the Select that we tore down last year, it had a completely different looking lower fascia to it. It didn't have these inserts. This was all the same piece. It was all painted in the same color.
Another premium feature on this is a light up pony. This is a nice feature. If you're spending, what is this? This one in 2021 was $59,000 and change.
$59,000 and change plus the options that were on this vehicle. We didn't get a window sticker that had the cost with it, so we backed it into starts at $60,000 to get the GT in 21.
And I looked on Ford.com. Currently, the 2022s are all sold out. You can't even order one. Those start a little higher. I think at $61,000 right now.
Right.
I think in 2023, you might even see that go up even further.
Right, and then something else that is different than what we had up front here, there is no dividers in this tub. We purchased a very early build of the Mach-E. This was built in June of 21, so the dividers were able to be removed. They had some issues with the child release button that was in here, so they had to make the packaging smaller when we purchased it, so they had some hand-drilled features in here with some dividers. Took that out. I'm glad that they were able to get that out of there. Much more functional space now that it's all open.
One thing I really like about this Frunk is that if you notice, the light and the push button for release are in the same spot. Now, when we were looking at the Rivian, they had the light on one side and the trunk release on the other side. What that does is that drives extra cost. On the Rivian, they had a plastic box protecting the connector on both the left and right side. They were not common. And then you have to run wire harness to both sides on the Rivian. This is really a well thought out, concise design. If you're gonna have two electrical options or features, put them in the same spot. Good job, Ford. Now, Ben, this is a press vehicle. You said we found some things that were, a little bit wear and tear. So this has 5,500 miles. We noticed that the trim was starting to peel up right here.
This is a year-old vehicle that gets sent around to places like Munro. People poke at it, people prod at it. There's some clips that are missing underneath this trim cover up here, so the corner is coming up. So it's just a couple of things.
Yeah, and this isn't a product of initial build quality. This is, you know, wear and tear. And I think this press vehicle is subject to more poking and prodding than you would normally have if you bought a vehicle. You're not going to be removing this trim panel over and over again.
Hey boys and girls, this episode of Munro Live is brought to you by our friends over at Henson Shaving. Here at Munro & Associates, we get excited about good manufacturing. The razor itself is made in Canada at an aerospace machine shop. The advanced machining allows the razor to be produced with incredibly tight tolerances. Those tolerances really matter when the blade exposure is so small. This very small amount of blade exposure eliminates cuts, nicks, and irritation. I really like the built-in channels. It's easy to clean with a quick rinse under the tap. The blades themselves are recyclable and only cost about a dime. Turns out the blade wasn't the issue, it's how you support it that really counts.
Now, that pretty much covers the front of the car. What about the side and the mirrors and the roof? You said you noticed something back.
Yep, so as we move back, this is very common with up trimming a vehicle. You have larger wheels on this, so that's gonna cost a little bit more for Ford. There was also the option of doing the black painted roof on this, which again, with the orange not being my color, I do like the black there. It stands out really well, but it doesn't have a panoramic roof. So that's what our vehicle did not have, a panoramic roof either. Just kind of surprised that they don't have that as a standard feature on the GT. And they are doing, again, carrying back the piano black down lower on the sill trim all the way through to the back of the vehicle. There's not a lot of chrome on this, which I think makes it look better. The black looks better with it. There's just a little bit on some badges and on the wheels.
And another thing we don't see every OEM doing is matching the color of the shark fin. So the shark fin antenna has multiple antennas. Ben, you would know better what's in there. It's usually you have Sirius XM, you'll have...
Your GPS can be up in there as well. Your AM, FM can be in there as well.
Now, to run through why it saves money to have a single color. So this one is piano black. They may have other ones that match the color of the roof. They may have other ones that are just mold-in color, but think about the complexity. If you have 6, 8, 10 colors at a plant, you now introduce 6, 8, 10 other colors for complexity. Some OEMs will only have one color shark fin, some always paint match, and it's one of those things that we always fight with, you know, the styling group, we call it the product design office. They typically want to match their shark fin to the color of the car or the surrounding panels. Ben, I know that you have some stories about fighting for that.
Right, and it doesn't really make the piece cost go up any when you have different colors. It's just managing the part numbers, like Cory was talking about. Having 8 or 9 or 10 different part numbers that you have to manage costs money, and it doesn't improve the vehicle, the vehicle performance any. You get a little bit of styling. Personally, I'm okay if it's a black shark fin all the time, but like Cory said, it's a PDO decision. They want it to match, and it's going to cost a few more dollars, even though the part doesn't cost more. It's shipping items to the plant for assembly.
And I'll give you an example on this vehicle where they drew the line. So we've been talking about piano black here, piano black there, piano black there, painted wheels, piano black here. If you come around, the trim, piano black, piano black, piano black, piano black. It looks amazing. Shark fin, piano black here, piano black. But a standard part for Ford Motor Company is probably this wiper arm, and it's just plain old, dull, mold-in color, right, Ben?
Right.
And there could be a styling person at Ford Motor Company or other OEMs that would want this to match the rest of the car, but it did not, because they're making these potentially in the millions and millions, or maybe tens of millions if it's a standard size for dozens of their vehicles. So unfortunately, this doesn't match the rest of the car. All right.
And looking at the interior real quick, just to take a look at some of the other styling differences or upgrades that they have when they go with the GT. Where everything was wrapped in a vinyl before, you now have a synthetic suede. So this upper door trim panel, synthetic suede, Carl's going to be getting into this a lot more when he does his interior review. But this is upgraded. You have copper accents instead of some of the chrome accents that we had before. And then obviously the seat covers have changed as well. Something that most OEMs do. As you up trim levels, you get a more premium seat cover. So these are synthetic suede as well. Different stitch pattern. The other thing that we haven't really talked about yet is the powertrain. You go to a Mustang GT, a Mach-E GT, you're expecting more performance. There is a different motor that is in the front of this vehicle. When the motor that we tore down was a 50 kilowatt front motor, this one has a upgraded front motor. It increases the performance. This vehicle goes from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. The one we tore down was 5.2 seconds. Both of them are fast, but this one is significantly quicker.
Yeah.
There's also a increased battery pack in this. It's 88 kilowatt hours usable battery pack versus 68 kilowatt hours in the one that we tore down. So you get an extra 20 kilowatt hours of battery.
But the range suffers a little bit. So
Correct.
with the higher performance motor in the front, it may be larger, it might be internal permanent magnet versus induction. I don't know for sure, you'd probably find out. But that's going to be more resistance to spin all the time.
Right,
The vehicle may weigh more, and they'll also have bigger wheels, which affects the range.
Right.
So
The range actually does increase with a bigger battery pack. It's the efficiency that took a hit. It was a 93 MPGE equivalent from the Select that we had, and this one is down to 84. So you're about a 10% reduction in your efficiency, but you're gaining about 65 miles of range. So the bigger battery pack still takes you further, but it's not as efficient in doing so.
Yep. Great. Well, this was a short review for us. We wanted to highlight the things that were different. We didn't want to rehash the stuff that we already rehashed. We didn't want to rehash the items that we covered in our first review. And we want to take a moment to thank Ford. So the team at Ford provided us this vehicle. Like most of our press vehicles that we receive, it's a beautiful color, and I haven't got a chance to drive it, but I'm sure it's really fast. And we also want to take a moment to remind our viewers that when you see us tearing down a vehicle like that Mach-E, about a year ago, our report is finished for that. So if you're a tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 3, an OEM, and you're interested in anything in this vehicle, we sell those reports, and you can contact us at sales@leandesign.com. And at Munro, we're spoiled. We have 7 or 8 EVs in our hands right now, and even a hybrid we just got. So if you're looking for insight on electric vehicles, this is the place to come. Ben, any final thoughts?
I think you've covered it all, Corey. We're
All
good.
right. Thanks again. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks.